Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Derek. Today's discussion is going to be about honesty. What does it mean to be completely honest? And this is something that I think a lot of people think that they're very honest. They're generally going to tell the truth. But oftentimes what happens is in certain situations we actually find ourselves kind of holding back. Depending on the person, depending on a situation, you might find yourself not being or speaking in a completely honest manner because oftentimes we're afraid of the consequence of doing such things. And the thing that you really want to understand is that when you're honest with someone and honest with yourself, you're really showing a level of respect that it just, people don't generally show each other. And it's one of the highest forms of respect you can ever pass on to another person. So just as an example, you might find yourself in a situation where you're having a conversation with a friend or anybody, and what's happening is this person is talking to you. Now you've had this relationship for so long, this person's talking to you and they're telling you something, but you know them well enough to know that sometimes what they say and oftentimes their actions don't add up. They're saying one thing but they're doing another, and you might find yourself wanting to say something very truthful about it. You might want to call them out on it, and the problem often is usually they give a bad reaction. They get very angry, they get very upset, they kind of backtrack, they start to make excuses for themselves. And a lot of people try to avoid this. And this isn't good. This isn't good for your relationship, it's not good for you. And the real issue is if you're in a situation where you're afraid to tell somebody the God honest truth, then that's really not a situation you want to be in. And if you do find yourselves in those situations and you are being honest and that person is just getting angry and getting upset, that says more about them. That says more about the issues that they have with themselves, and that they're not really wanting to hear the truth. That's why they tend to bend the stories to make it sound like whatever it is that they're doing or whatever it is that they might be complaining about is somehow, not their fault or not their responsibility. It's somebody else's causing issue or causing problems or making life difficult. So one of the things that we really, and this is a confidence builder, because when we start speaking very, very truthfully and we start living those truths, and you start to understand that you can't make people think what you want, you can't make people like you, you can't make people, especially when they like you can't make them show you respect and honesty and trustworthiness. But the more that you do it, the more that you're going to understand and see what kinds of people are not the kinds of people you want in your life. People who won't be honest with you no matter what. Even when they say that they have a high opinion of you, they're not going to tell you the truth. And if they're going to get angry when you are truthful with them, that's not how you have a good relationship. That's not how you have a mutual respect. If you're going to be able to talk to someone in a truthful manner, you should respect that should come back to you just as well. But you want to live your life in such a way that you never have to sit there and make excuses to somebody for some sort of behavior or for something that we do or have done. It's about really acknowledging our mistakes and understanding that if we keep down that path, you're gonna give yourself reasons to tell dishonest things And at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you're trying to give people an idea of who you are based on what you're telling them and what you're saying and how you're behaving, but also that your actions follow suit. And the only really way to do that is to really start being more honest about everything, including being honest with yourself, being honest with yourself about situations. If you're in a situation and you can't be honest with that person, you have to make a real decision about whether or not that's the kind of person you want in your life. Are you just going to keep putting up with drama because you think you owe it to that person? And they're not showing you very much respect if they can't acknowledge or look at themselves and say, you know what, you're right, I'm making a mistake. There's nobody to hold accountable but myself. And these are the situations that I find and I see a lot of people just so unwilling to just be honest and truthful right from the get-go, which would avoid so many other major issues, so much drama, so much toxic behavior. So just really look at yourself and look at these situations, and the truth is in people's behavior. That's a big sign as to whether or not, this is the kind of people I need to be around. Do they tend to bend the truth? Do they tend to not take responsibility for actions? Do they tend to say something and do something that completely takes away from what they said? And if those are the people that you surround yourself with, those are the people that are bringing about drama and problems. Those are the people that go around saying that you're not being a trustworthy person. Because a lot of people also don't realize is that when you're being told something, when you're being told and you're being given information, and you're not paying attention to whether or not, especially with the person who's telling you, whether or not that they're being completely truthful or honest, anything that you give back to them, anything that you say back to them that isn't saying, hey, look, you're not being completely honest with me, I think what you're telling me is false. If you're not telling them that, then what you're actually doing is you're actually lying to them, because your response is based on the information they're giving you. So in reality, what we want is we want to have as much of the information as possible to make such a decision, and that starts with being honest with ourselves, being honest with other people, irregardless of the consequences, irregardless of the anger or how upset they get. It's no benefit to anyone to have people in our lives that just aren't truthful. And it starts with us. It doesn't start with trying to make everybody else truthful. It starts with you. So on that note, I'm gonna leave it there, and make sure you guys are subscribing. Make sure you guys are sharing. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them down there, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Thanks.